Hey everyone, I hope that you have been doing well and having a really good summer. Well, I wanted to encourage somebody by sharing a vision that the Lord gave me. You know, there are so many people who are going through times of distress, anxiety. Life seems to be flip-flopping and doing all of this stuff. And you feel out of control. You feel like, you can't even regulate what's going on. And, the Lord gave me this vision a couple of days ago as I was just sitting with him. And I feel like this is for everyone who has been going through in some area of your life. Maybe your emotions, maybe your family, maybe your finances, maybe your business or your job. What you have been going through anything, this word is probably for you. Usually when I receive something from the Lord, it's typically a vision. Sometimes it's words, but typically it's a vision. And as I was sitting with him or whatnot, I had this quick vision of this ride in a theme park. And if you have been to one of those theme parks that has water rides, you probably know what I'm talking about, where you get on this like round raft type thing, and there's like this thing in the middle that you hold on to, and it takes you all over the place, but not the one that's kind of like a stream and it's very relaxing. I'm talking about the rough one, the one where if you don't hold on, you're gonna be hurting when you get up out of that raft. So he showed me that thing, and what he did was highlight certain things. So what I believe that the Lord want me to share with you is that there is a turning in the turbulence, a turning in the turbulence. And what I mean by that is like, those rides that I was just talking about, a lot of times it's rough, you're turning around, it's very turbulent, but what we don't realize is that in order for things to manifest in the natural, there has to be transition in the spirit. And I believe that that was what he was showing me about this time in our lives for those of us who have been dealing with turbulence in our lives or whatnot. And so in order for things to be unwound in the spirit, cut off in the spirit, shaken up in the spirit, even unlocked in the spirit, there's going to be turbulence, and it's going to manifest in our natural lives. But those things are very intentional. Many times we don't realize that there are things that we have to go through with God's purpose in mind, right? And even though there are hard things that we go through, God has a purpose for this in our lives if we have not opened the door to the enemy. Now, if we've opened the door to the enemy, that's a whole nother situation. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the times in life where you're just going along, singing a song, doing your thing. There's nothing that is kind of hanging out there that you need to repent for. And your life, it seems, is just turned upside down. And so in those times, there is a shaking going on that is intentional for God to be able to manifest in the natural what is the next thing for you. What is, destiny, purpose, or whatnot, that path for you. So in all of that, I really believe that the Lord is saying, hold on. And just like that anchor in the middle of that raft, where if you don't hold on, you're going to be jerked around. You are going to be flailing or whatnot. You have to hold on to the anchor. And God is that anchor. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 3:5, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not to your own understanding. We don't understand why we're going through all this stuff, but we are to maintain and sustain a trust in him because he knows. And even in Exodus 14:13, I believe it is, Moses is telling the people, stand. You're going through it, but stand and you will see the salvation of the Lord. And so holding on to him is key in this area. Now, if you're like me and when you're going through, listen, I like to eat, okay? I like to shop. And I do that just to get some temporary comfort or whatever, but that's just the key. It's temporary and it's comfort. And so the Lord is like, don't lean into those temporary things that are going to give you comfort on a temporary basis. Lean into me. I am the one who is going to be able to guide you. I am the one who is going to be able to unveil strategies and unveil next steps and unveil what to do in this season and what's coming up, what you need to prepare for. And so God is saying, hold on to me, just like that anchor wheel in the middle of that raft in the theme park that I was talking about. The next thing that I think that he really wants me to share with you is one part of the ride that I really couldn't stand. I love the ride, but I could not stand this one part, and that is the end of the ride. If you guys know what I'm talking about, that ride, I'm telling you, you slam into that concrete barrier at the very end, and if you are not paying attention and you are not holding on and you're not braced, I mean, it almost seems like whiplash. It jerks you so hard slamming into that thing. And so I feel like the Lord was saying, just like you were going through all that turbulence and everything, and it was rough, it's going to stop just like that. That's another reason why it is so imperative for us to keep our eyes on him, because when it stops, there is something that we have to jump into. Like, there's a purpose that he wants to bring us into. There is a promotion that he wants to bring us into. There is purpose that is greater that he wants to bring us into. And so keeping our eyes, keeping our focus fixed on him, and being ready for when the turmoil and all the turbulence stops is really, really key. You know, a lot of times when things are just so haywire, it's hard for us to believe that they can like completely change on a dime. But that's exactly what happened in 2 Kings 7 with a people group. They were so starved. There was so much famine in the land that women were actually eating their own babies. And you know, the prophet came, and what he said, by this time tomorrow, there will be such an abundance that food will be able to be purchased on the cheap. I mean, almost for nothing. And so there was a gatekeeper, you know, one of the royal army that overheard what he said. And what he said back to Elisha the prophet was, if God opened all the windows of heaven, could that really happen? See, he didn't believe. He didn't believe. And Elisha responded to him and said, oh, it'll happen. You'll see it, but you won't taste of it. And that's exactly what happened. The guard was standing by the gate, and he saw the abundance outside of the gate when it came the next day, but the people trampled him on their way out. Same thing happened with immediate abundance in 1 Kings 17, when there was a widow woman who was starving, and basically the prophet came to her and he said, you know what, fix me a cake. And she said, I only have enough left for me and my son, and after that after we eat it, we're gonna just die because we have nothing left. And you know, they're in a state of hopelessness. And he said, fix me that cake. And so she did. And when she did it and gave it to him, he told her, he said, there will not be any emptiness in that barrel or that vat of flour, and no emptiness in that jar of oil until the rain comes. You will continually be refilled with all of your sustenance until rain comes. And that's exactly what happened. And so I want to just encourage you, be hopeful, be encouraged by the possibility of change. So many times when we are in circumstances where it seems just so heavy, or we've been going through it for so long, we lose hope. You know, I've been there so many times, I can't even tell you. But now is a time where the Lord is saying, look up and expect for a sudden stop to the turbulence. Make sure that you keep your focus on him, and know that there is going to be a change in your situation, regardless of how bad it looks. Listen, both of those two stories had to do with people on the brink of starvation, right? I think it's pretty bad when women feel like they have nothing to eat and their mind is so twisted because of starvation that they're willing to eat their own children. You know, and I would think that nobody watching that is in that dire of a situation. However, whatever your situation is, I know that in your circumstance, it might be dire. And so I just want to, encourage you to continue to believe God, continue to hope in God, because he does have good things for you. He does want better for you. And it is coming. It is coming. That turbulence, it's going to stop suddenly. The last thing about that entire vision, Lord kept highlighting the color of raft, and it was yellow. And so I looked up yellow, and there were two things that really, really popped out to me regarding the color yellow in the biblical dictionary for colors. And those two things was that, of course, yellow in a lot of instances, especially at that time, represented gold, right? And that the gold represented a gift. But the other thing that yellow represented as it pertains to gold was that God is covering you. God is covering you. And so, a lot of times in the Bible where people had crowns or other stuff, they were gold. And so it kind of represented like a covering or whatever. And so as the Lord was kind of highlighting that, this whole raft that we're in, as we're going through all this turbulent time, as we're dealing with all these issues, as there's just unrest or whatnot, he's covering us. He is covering you. And so be encouraged that regardless of what is going on, he is covering you. Whatever turbulence you're going through, do not get dismayed. Do not get discouraged. Do not get disheartened, because at the right time, it is going to suddenly stop. And know that everything that you're going through is for a better purpose on the other side. So you guys, I hope you got something from this. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Listen, any testimonies I always like to hear, put them below, and I will see you guys on the next video. Okay, bye.